Welcome back to Wisconsin Family. We're here on location at Rubens, downtown Madison.
We are all comfy cozy on this couch, settled in.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to talk to J.J. Johnson, interior designer, a little bit later, so that'll be fun.
So exciting.
But first, you should recognize this face. This is Bonnie Pearson from the Learning Shop in Madison. How are you, Bonnie?
I'm great. How about you?
Excellent. So nice to see you.
Yeah.
We always learn something when you come, so we're going to learn some more today.
Yes, you will, except it won't be as hands-on.
Oh, that's true. We had the tactile toys, which we enjoyed seeing.
And that was the sensory solutions section of the store that you talked about last time. But we got so into doing that, but we didn't have a chance to talk about a book series that you had brought called the Here's Hank book series. Can you talk to us a little bit about those books?
Well, these are Here's Hank.
Okay.
Here's Hank is about a second grade little boy, and Hank has dyslexia. However, in these books, you do not know that yet. And they were written by Henry Winkler and a lady named Lynn Oliver.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So these are Henry Winkler authors, all of these, they're all by Henry Winkler. And now is that you're talking about the Fonz, right?
Yes, it's Henry Winkler, who was the Fonz from Happy Days. He actually was diagnosed with dyslexia when he was 31 years old.
I did not know that. What an interesting fact.
His son was diagnosed with dyslexia at the same time, and Henry Winkler's purpose and Ms. Oliver's purpose of these books is to, first of all, let all children know that reading is very important, but he also wants children with learning disabilities to know you can do it. He was told, you will never be anything.
Wow. That's incredible. I mean, and what a nice thing for children or, people who are out there who do wind up with a dyslexia diagnostic. The Fonz is dyslexic.
Yeah. That'd be a great meme, a picture of the Fonz and it says, was told you'd never be anything, became the Fonz.
Yes.
That'd be pretty cool.
Very good.
So you talked about how Hank in these series doesn't realize he has dyslexia yet.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about what are the plot lines? What happens in these stories?
Well, I'm going to read the back here because it gives you a little synopsis. It says, "Hi there, I'm Hank. Here's what you need to know about me. I don't try to make kids laugh in my class, but I do. Spelling is my worst subject. Come to think of it, so are math and reading. I try hard. I really do. So why does my brain always freeze like a popsicle?" And that's very true of these children. I think they do a very good job of capturing some of the frustrations these children have. In this book, there's a zombie in my bathtub. Hank and his grandfather go to the library, and this is what he says. "I like the smell of books. I just wish they weren't so hard for me to read. It's fun to check them out with my card, but when I get them home, they scare me." And that's very true.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they do a really good job of, he does a very good job, but he lived it. So he can reflect that in his books. And the other thing that I found interesting too is, and I read all these books because I thought it was kind of interesting once I started.
Sure, absolutely. Good for adults too.
They also capture the frustration that I think parents and adults deal with these children. Like in this book, bookmarks are people too. I
love the names of these books.
I know,
these are so cute.
Well, and they're funny. That's what's so great about them. You really enjoy them.
Right.
The characters are great, and he does such a good job of making it funny, and the interaction between all of them. It's just very, very entertaining.
That's great.
But in here, he and his friends are going to be in a play, and this puts him in a panic because he can't read the script.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And then he goes home, and he and his friend are talking about this play, and his dad gets after him about studying. And he says, well, you know what, maybe you need to do more math. Maybe you need to do some flashcards. Maybe instead of having so much fun, you need to get after your flashcards. And he goes into a panic about this because I can't do math either. The numbers jumble in my
How
head.
frustrating. You don't think about that when you're not dealing with something like that. But for people who are dealing with dyslexia, then everything is challenging, even if really it wouldn't be. You can't read it. You can't understand it.
Right.
It's the text. And speaking of text, I noticed as you were paging through that the font is actually a little bit different than your typical reading book. Is there a reason there?
Yes. Henry Winkler first came out with a series where Hank is in 4th grade, and then they backtracked and did 2nd grade. And this is called a dyslexia font.
Wow.
And it was designed by a man he's Dutch, Christian Bear, who also was dyslexic, and it is supposed to help children or people with dyslexia read better.
Interesting.
Wow.
I wonder what it is about that.
You have to look at it. It's the way, they're heavier, some heavier bottoms, like your D's and B's. The circles on the D's and B's are weighted, so they're heavier, so it's easier to differentiate. It's a D or a B. Now, the disclaimer is they've never proven that it could help.
Sure.
But let me tell you, I picked it up and with my old eyes and read this, and went, oh, this print is fabulous.
There you go. I love it.
Real quick before we go, are these books for anybody or are they just for second graders?
No, they're for anybody, and I think the thing to remember is your child may not have dyslexia, but your child is going to school with someone who does.
Yeah.
And it may help them realize that's not a dumb child.
Right.
It's a child who's struggling.
Yeah.
And his friends recognize that about him, and they're so supportive. It's so
That's
great to
great.
see.
That's
What a
great.
nice message. Thanks for sharing those. Those are great books. Here's Hank.
Here's Hank.
Bonnie Pearson from the Learning Shop, thank you so much for joining us. We always learn something.
We do.
Good.
Don't go away. There's more Wisconsin Family coming up right after this. Stick around.